Yeah, I actually cannot remember her name, and that's really bad. Um,
Serious? She must have been a highlight.
no, I remember just seeing her body, and
Run
she,
me through it. Let
uh,
me see if we can figure it out. What's
yeah,
she look
you'll
like?
know who it is. It's not, so Fitness Pro,
Okay.
probably a few years back, um, brown hair,
Yeah.
amazing body.
Okay.
Go
Doesn't
through
narrow
the
it
Fitness
down.
Pro.
Hey. Oh, I know exactly the one you're talking about, Emily.
Oh,
No, I
use
have
that
no
one.
idea. Yeah, that one.
Um,
That brown hair one with the great physique. No, I can't
I
remember
guess
that.
it was more like a general look of what it
Yeah.
was. It's I just love the like I'm not a like I'm an introverted person, but once I get up on the stage, like I'm a different character. So I love seeing like the women with the hair, like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
big long hair and the bikinis, and they're ripped and they're jacked and like muscles
So
and like
did you
always going.
I was just going to say, did you find it not a hard, but a different transition going from an ICN and NABA show to suddenly the WBFF, where there's so much more involved? It's not just about the
Yeah.
physique. Like, is that something that attracted you initially to the WBFF, or was it like, okay, I have to learn how to do this as well now?
I kind of loved it, hey. Like I got
Yeah.
up on stage and I figured out what it was all about and I was like, fuck yeah, like I'm here.
That's a fucking attitude. That's what we need.
Yeah, because I felt
So,
like when I did all the other ones, I was just like, I was caged
yeah.
in like my personality. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean that's one of the massive advantages about the WBFF. It really does allow you to be you and bring, what you have and what you are to stage
Yeah.
without anyone telling you that's wrong or you can't do that. I have to pose like this. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
when was your first WBFF show? Around about the 2016-17? Was it the
Yeah.
Gold Coast show, like
Yeah, it was a Gold Coast show. Yeah.
the May show, an amateur show?
The October show, I
Okay.
think.
So
Really
that
bad at
yeah, so
this.
the
I think so.
first pro-am wasn't until 2018, right? Yes. I'm
Yeah.
right in saying that
Yeah.
because I judged that one. But so
Yeah.
you competed the year before, maybe?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
the year before in October, yeah.
So that was your first show. How did you do and how was it?
I got second in that one in figure. So
Okay.
like the lineup is obviously smaller. I think I did fitness as well. It's a really long time ago
I'm
now.
pretty sure you
Um,
would have done fitness as well. In your first
I did
show, just
fitness
to
and
find the
figure,
divide,
yeah.
yeah, you would have done
Yeah.
fitness and figure.
Yeah, I did well. I think I got second. I came second to Tracy in one of them.
Okay.
Um, and then at one point I did compete against Asha, but she'll probably know, and I didn't know. I competed against her a few times.
So was that when Ashley got her pro card?
I think we did fitness together in and one of the years, and I didn't get first, obviously.
Possibly. It might have
Um,
been 2017, I think, in the in October, I think, when she got her pro card.
yes, yes,
So
yes.
what show did you turn pro?
It was the October the year after. No, May the year after. So
So probably the 2018? Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So,
Matt
okay,
would know,
we're
but I'm
getting
really bad
yeah,
with them
we're getting there. We're getting there. It's fine.
at some stage.
I'm terrible with dates as well. So 2018 May show, Gold Coast, you got your pro card.
Yeah,
Um, how did it feel to get your pro card? I mean, obviously you've tried, this wasn't your first attempt. Someone would look at you now, it's like, that girl must have just walked on stage and got everything. Like it was,
yeah.
it wasn't your first attempt to get the pro card, but you eventually got it. Like how did you feel getting your WBFF pro card?
So good. I think I
Yeah.
just cried and cried. Like it's just years for me, and like for me, I still see myself sometimes as that little weak
Yeah.
kid. So like I think yeah, a lot of people think that I just kind of stepped on stage and I'm like I'm here and I've been doing this forever. Like,
Yeah.
but it's taken such a long time. So
Mm.
it was a huge build up for me, and it was just so nice to be accepted and to be rewarded
Yeah.
in like a federation like WBFF that I felt like I really like just
You just
belonged,
felt
you
like you
know?
slotted in there, just
Yeah,
fitted in there
yeah,
well. Yeah, it's another
yeah.
great thing about it. And did you get your pro card in figure or fitness?
Figure.
In figure. Okay. And
Yeah,
like back then, 2018, well, I mean, so I think one massive thing and one really good thing about the Australia and WBF Australia, Pauline Ari, how much they've done so well for the federation is they've really brought up the figure category. Like it
yeah,
was almost something like kind of 2000. I think there was talks, I think back in 2014 to remove I
yeah.
mean, WBFF used to have bodybuilding, we did male bodybuilding.
Oh
but
yeah, 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 yeah,
we kept the figure category in. And then I
yeah,
remember chatting with Paul Nelson, I think it was 2014, 15, they were actually considering removing the figure category.
yeah,
And I was like, no, this is important. Like this is a real, and it had some, I spoke with Asher as well about, it had some like kind of testing times where it didn't really find its feet in terms of no one really knew where the figure
what it
category was
was.
going or what it was. Like
Yeah,
fitness had kind of developed and people understood that, okay, this is what I need to do for fitness. This is how I need to look apart, not just the physique, like everything else that comes with
yeah,
it. But the figure
yeah,
category was still viewed upon as no one really wanted to do figure categories. It's still viewed upon as being, not so feminine. Still the kind of like hysteria that most of like figure category and other federations have. But it
yeah,
got to the point where like, no, figure is just a slightly more muscular fitness category, fitness
yeah,
girl. And when they changed them to have female and anything like that, it just made that shift. And then when Asher won in 2018 LA and Worlds, it really kind of defined. I think the Australian market had such a huge impact on defining the figure category. So I'm guessing what I'm
mm.
saying is thank you.
Yeah,
but
no,
but
it does have like I think a lot of women think that it's so different to fitness, and it is,
mm,
but it's just slightly bigger. And
yeah.
there's so many girls in fitness, especially over in Australia, that
Oh
could
yes.
easily step up,
And
and
should and
overseas
really
as
should.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I think now with with you, Astra, and a lot of the top level figure pros, I think people are starting to view it a little bit different, and they
yeah,
haven't like we used to speak to a lot of the pros that you need to step up to figure, like you're too big for fitness. But oh
yeah,
no, I don't want to go to figure. But now hopefully with positivity that you guys have spread and actually how you look,
yeah,
hopefully quite a few of the fitness pros that should be doing figure will move up to figure, and the
yeah,
figure will become a massive class because it's already proving to be a really popular one, and it's always been really popular over in Australia. So yeah,
yeah,
it's a
yeah,
really good thing. So when was
yeah.
your
Because there's
when?
a, oh, sorry.
No, go out. I want to hear what you say to
Yeah,
say.
because there was like when I started figure, it was like there was only the three of us,
Yeah,
and like as good as that is to like a win a category, but you're still in competing against three girls, like
yeah,
so I would love to see more girls compete in figure because
yeah,
we need more girls in that. And there's yeah, exactly. There's so many people in fitness that can move up and should move
yeah,
up, but they're scared. And I think
yeah.
it's the word figure, and
Mm,
it means so many different things to a lot of people, but it's nothing to be scared of. It's something that
exactly.
people we need to embrace. So
Exactly. So everyone who's
yeah.
listening, who's interested in or maybe even a fitness and pro that just finds they're a
Mm,
little bit too muscular, they've had coaches or judges feedback saying they're a little bit too muscular, come into the figure category because we need to
yeah,
grow that. We need more
we
competition. There are
do.
some sick physiques, but we just need to up that category.
Yeah.
So your first pro show, when was that?
That.
Can you remember where it was? Was it in Australia at least? Was
Yeah,
it?
I think it was in Australia.
Was it
Oh,
the
no, it was.
first?
Yeah, it was.
Was it?
Yeah,
Was it the first Pro Am 2018?
yeah, it was. Yeah, I
There
was
we
gonna say
go.
it's
Good.
the one that I did with Matt. Yeah, the first one. So
And
that
was
was
that
in October.
when was Matt's? We'll go through his details there. But when did he get his pro card?
That show. I'm pretty
Oh,
sure.
that show. Okay.
Yeah,
So how
yeah.
did you do? How was this 2018? I was judging that show. Who won
You
the
would have
figure?
been
Who won the figure category?
in that one.
Yeah.
No, now we've really just lost it. So 2018 first pro show. Matthew.
It's not that important. But that was
I don't
your
know.
that was your first pro show, right?
Yeah,
How did you do in your first pro
yeah,
show?
good. I like
Yeah.
I won in that one. Yeah, that's
Oh,
when
you
I got
won that
my
one.
championship. Yeah, first pro
How
show.
No, that was 2019.
Oh my God.
You got your Australian. I should have just answered my own questions here. I mean, I'm just going.
Just please.
Yeah, if you could just stand there, like I'll
I'll
just take
just be
your role
like,
as well. So you won the Australian figure crown last year, 2019.
yes.
Yes, and then you came
But
to London, and then you did
yeah.
yeah,
And before that, I did Vegas.
and
First pro show was Vegas.
there we
There
go,
we go.
2019 in
Yes.
Vegas. Of course, I remember
Yes.
that. Of course,
Yes.
the year when Asher won, you placed. Where
Yeah.
did you place, Emily?
I got second in that one.
Second in that one. How did you find
Yeah.
Vegas?
It was good. Like it was the first time I've ever been to Vegas, and I feel like I missed out on a lot of things because I was very depleted and stuff,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
all I wanted to do was sleep when I should have been going and doing stuff. But that's just
Yeah, I mean
how
that's
competing
always yeah,
is all the
that's always
time.
you compete in these fantastic places, but
Mm.
you can't really enjoy them until post show.
No, exactly.
But how
But
did
no, it
you
was
find?
good.
Yeah, how did you find the show in terms of like for me, Vegas is where WBFF started for me in terms of the Worlds
Yeah,
back in 2013. Like, and it
yeah,
was just when they went back to Vegas in 2018, it was just ridiculous. Um, it was 2000, yeah, 2018. I should get my years right. I was so happy to be back, and then it was massive. We had a lot of Australians, including yourself, come over through there. A lot of people competed because it was back in Vegas. So the actual
yeah.
show, like, this was your first experience of, even though to be honest, you competed in the Australian Pro-Am, and even the May shows are super busy.
They're
But yeah,
huge.
they're
They're
huge.
huge. Yeah,
I talking. I can't remember who I was talking to the other day, but the 2018, the one that I judged, the first Pro-Am, we had 80 pro, I think it was 80 pro bikini girls.
yeah. There's a lot.
Unreal.
There's a lot of people in
Unreal.
that show. It's huge. It's
Yeah, I think
amazing.
over 350 competitors total.
Yeah.
But so first pro show Vegas, we figured that out, where you placed second. And then the next time you competed with the WBFF was not until 2019,
Yeah. So I did
The Australian Pro-Am.
Vegas, yeah, Pro Am, and then
Okay.
UK. Yeah.
When you took your crown. And Matt
Yeah.
took his crown.
Crown.
Was it crown like tag, like little WF
Sword.
sword? Did they? No, they didn't.
No, that'd be
But
funny as heck.
that must have been pretty fucking freaky. Like that must be pretty awesome. Like both of you guys basically like Mr. and Mrs. Australia.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was just like a strange, like I was backstage when he won his pro card, and
Okay,
like that was weird as well because he won it on his first ever show ever,
right.
like
Ever.
ever never had competed again before, and he won that show. And then we won that last one, and again like it was such a big prep, and I think when
Yeah,
you're running your own business and you're prepping, like I was just so fried.
yeah.
And it didn't sink in until like a week after. I'm just like, and then we're going to UK.
Yeah,
So
you didn't have long to wait until coming over to the UK, and you
yeah,
were doing as you're coming over as you get my words out. You were coming over as you know male fitness Australian champion and
yeah,
female figure Australian
yeah,
champion coming over to the
yeah.
UK. How did you transition that? Was it fairly easy to transition from your prep in terms of the reversal back in? Because October, it was basically like 3 weeks later, if I'm not mistaken,
It was
around
longer. I
about
think it was
that.
6 weeks. It was
It was six
yeah, it
weeks.
was yeah,
So you
it
must
was
have, so it
like
must have been the beginning of October then, right?
yeah,
The
it
pro
was
am,
a
and
big.
then.
I think it was 6 weeks.
But did you struggle, or was it just a fact of just like maintaining condition? You felt in a good space and just bringing it into the London show.
So it was a really good prep. This was probably my best prep that I've had so far. Like a
Yeah,
lot of like I've done 15 preps in total, I think.
yeah,
And like each one I've had a problem or something come up, and no prep's perfect ever. Like I never
never.
expect
Yeah,
that. But this one was like so good in terms of my mentality around my food, in terms of like just sticking to my diet. Like
mm.
that seems like a really basic thing to do, but when you compete,
It's
like it
basic, but
is,
it's one of the hardest things, right? It's that
it's
mental
the
acuity
absolute
that,
hardest thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And how you view that and the mindset around that. And that's why I felt really strong in this prep because I went into it better. You know, I was
yeah.
set up better with this one. And then this time between the comps, I was actually so run down. I was so sick.
Really?
And yeah, I was good up until the October show, and just
Okay.
your immune system just takes a hit,
Yeah, it
from being
does.
so lean.
Mm,
And this is the most conditioned that I've ever been in my life.
mm.
And I was like, and my coach was like, you don't need to get any leaner because I had to go over and do fitness because there's
Yeah,
no figure in UK.
yeah,
So like they were both like, 'cause I have two coaches. They were both like, you don't need to get any leaner. You just need to
mm.
maintain. And in my head, like being a competitor, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get as lean as I can.
Yeah.
Um,
It's because you only get a few moments in your competitive career to be able to do that, right? When you're feeling
yeah,
good, you're
yeah.
like, fuck, I want to see how far I can push this. Like,
Yep, that was like both of us were
that
like,
was it.
let's push it. Yeah. So
Yeah, it's tough.
um but in terms like between the shows, I did kind of just lose it a little bit. Like
Mm.
my coach was saying you need to eat more, and I was going like that's scary. Like
Yeah,
what if I
yeah,
fuck it up?
yeah.
And I like nothing was going ever going to happen. You know,
Mm.
I was always going to come in good to that show unless I
Yeah,
really did something wrong.
yeah,
But I had too much flexibility, and I was like, I'll have a bit more rice, and I probably had, you know, it just wasn't as structured as it should have been between
mm.
those two shows. So I went over there feeling a little bit frazzled, and I should have had more structure to it, and I know
Yeah,
that, but you know, I still looked great, and I
yeah. You
still
look
did,
fantastic.
yeah. Again, I was in the wrong division, like
But
I
it's
shouldn't,
also like, yeah, it's hard. Like, because I remember when I heard you coming over, it's like you just won figure
yeah,
champion in Australia, and you're coming over to do fitness. It must have been
fitness,
like a
yeah,
bit of a head fuck.
yeah. But it was good in one way. I was just like, you know, it was just another chance to get up on stage for me.
Yeah,
Like
true.
it was more
And
for like
everything
Matt.
was already booked and everything like that.
Yeah, it was funny because I went to actually book it and go put into figure, like to go register for
Yeah,
figure, and I was like, Matt, there's no figure, and he's just like, what do you mean? I was like, there's no
yeah.
figure. Like,
Yeah,
what do I do?
that needs to change. That needs to change. But Matt comes over, another Australian coming over and taking one of our titles. Muscle
Yeah,
model
who?
Australian and muscle model UK European
UK,
champion
yeah,
as well.
yeah.
So
So
I mean, that was a perfect time, and it sounds like it was a great prep, but a fairly lengthy prep, probably pushing a little bit too far.
yeah,
You, as you said, immune system start to crash a little bit, which
yeah,
happens. You know, it's one of
yeah,
the first things that is effective when we're in a deficit. But
yeah.
and then you got to enjoy some time after, some post show European adventures.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that was
Had you?
it was hard time like mentally like it
Yeah.
is like for normal for like after a prep, even if you're not traveling, it is a hard time to reverse. I think the reverse is the
Oh,
hardest part
massively.
of the prep, you know. So
100%.
um
100%.
yeah, and
Absolutely.
to do that abroad amongst pastries was
Yeah.
like impossible. So we kind of took that on the chin, and oh my God, he knocked my water over. Um, and we were just like, you know what, let's have the best time that we can. Let's
Yeah.
not regret anything.
Mm.
We're only here like once, you know, like if we come over again, we're probably going to come over again anyway, but like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's just a waste of time. So we're just like, we'll be as active as possible. We'll try to offset intake with more activity.
Mm.
We kept going to the gym every day. Like I don't even think we had a day off.
Yeah.
But that's what we love to do. You know, we love going to gyms
Yeah.
overseas and
It's
trialing
part
them
of it,
out.
right? It's part of it.
Yeah,
It's part of your routine. It doesn't change whether you're away or whether you're home. But
yeah,
I think
yeah.
you hit
So
the nail on the head, Emily, with in terms of reversal. People well, still to this day, even though they've been through experiences before, negative experiences through coming out of peak preps, they always underestimate how hard the reversal is because they feel so
so
good,
hard.
and you hear things like, oh, I'm going to do it really well this time. I'm going to do it really scientifically, really structurally. No, there's not much science. You look at it into layman's terms, it's literally just going back the way you came in. Essentially,
Yeah,
everything is so easy on paper, but in
yeah,
actuality, when emotions, when uh, areas where you are, emotions from the competition,
yeah,
restricting yourself for so long and being surrounded by, as you were in Europe, by a lot of tasty foods, and of course
yeah,
wanting to enjoy it with your partner and being a little bit relaxed.
yeah,
It's a very hard time, and it's massively
yeah,
hard not only on the actual practicality of it, but also on the mindset.
yeah.
So I always say that, but everyone wants to do that. Literally, they always put their holidays straight after comp. So like, okay, we compete there because I want to
Yes, I do.
go and travel through after. But it's probably essentially the kind of,
Yeah,
it is great, but it's also the worst thing to do. If you did it if you really thought about it in a process, you think, okay, I need about a month to settle down and reverse, and then
yeah,
we can think about going away from there. Like you need to be back in. For me, you need to be back in a controlled environment.
yeah,
But then again, it's if you are sensible about things and you can still have a great time and you can still enjoy yourself and you can still keep things in moderation and whatever no matter how much, well, I guess within reason, weight or body fat you put on through it in the reversal, and say an unstructured reversal, it's not going to ruin you for the following prep.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So like I actually went into this prep and I was like, I'm gonna have the best reverse ever. Like it's gonna be
Yeah.
fantastic. I have my mindset's there, and then we're like booking a trip. I'm like, this reverse is not going to go perfectly at all. But
Yeah,
yeah, so like
100%.
we were both like, next time we're going to go home
Yeah,
get calories back up, go back over.
exactly. And then really enjoy it. And it's not so much the not enjoying it, it's the allowing yourself to enjoy it, right?
100%. Like,
Yeah.
I'm probably more relaxed. It was more so like Matt would lay there at night and be like, I just fucked it. Or like, we like, what have we done? Like, oh, do we
Yeah.
need to go to the gym tomorrow? Do it? No,
Yeah,
we need to
yeah.
get up and go for a walk. Like, it was
Yeah.
just this constant, like, am I doing enough? Or,
Yeah.
what's going to happen kind of thing.
I
Yeah.
think a lot of people can relate in that. But I want to know,
Yeah.
so obviously, how long have you and Matt been together for?
We've been together for like 2 years, but we've been friends, like, we were friends before that for
Okay.
another year and a half. Yeah.
So how much of a positive is it having a partner that knows exactly what comp prep life is like? How positive is that to have Matt support? I mean, I'm guessing you support each other through peak prep.
Yeah, like we have to both do the same show. We would never be able to do separate shows.
Okay.
Um,
Why is that?
because we're very similar in the way that, like, if one person was going to have you know, like be more cows or go
Yeah.
out for dinner, like the
Yeah.
other person has to go. It's so not fun going by
Yeah.
yourself
Yeah.
to eat food,
100%.
So like, and that's the way we've always done it. I think like we wouldn't really see the point in having one person go through prep. Like
Yeah.
they just like when you're with someone that's not prepping it's hard to, like, I don't know. It's hard to stay motivated because when we were both hurting, that's when it was good because I would be like, okay, let's go. Like, let's
Yeah.
do it. So,
It's an understanding.
yeah, so we both exactly understood exactly where we were at. If he was having a bad day, I would
Mm.
usually be okay. Like, it was kind of like this, which is good because there was very rarely a point where we were both like just flat.
Yeah.
It was either like I was up and he was down and I was up. So, yeah, like it's been so good. Like I just prep by myself, obviously, all way before this, and I would
Yeah.
much
Yeah.
rather have someone there to be like he won't tell you this, but he would be like the one to go down to the shop before like he met me and get like donuts and chips and chocolate and just eat and eat and eat. So like it was good. He's like, I stopped doing that like since we
Yeah.
got together and since we were friends because he's
Yeah.
like, I
Yeah.
knew that someone was on my back the whole time
Mm.
and I knew someone was watching what I was doing. So no,
I
it's really
think,
good.
but I think that's really it's really hard. So about what you said about having the feeling that someone's kind of on your back, sometimes it can be a real negative in terms of like
Yeah.
because you don't you feel like they're judging you or feel like that. But when you've got that kind of cohesion and it works
Yeah.
really well, then that can be a massive positive because of course
Yeah.
as you said, like one day one of you wakes up on a high, the other one's on low, that you're there to pick them up. The same thing in the other
Yeah.
day. So I think for
Yeah.
you guys. And I don't think it's always the case, but I think for you guys competing at the same time and prepping at the same time is a massive positive.
Yeah, and just being able to, like, I think when you're prepping, obviously you get a bit moody and stuff, and
Yeah.
I don't like, I get moody, but it's not really like an angry moody or anything
Is it
like that. Like
introvert moody?
yeah, I'm just
Just
I
like
get
quiet.
quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
and I think just understanding space and when that person needs space is fine. I think if you can understand that and like give that to someone, then you'll
Yeah.
be fine. But
100%.
if you're that person's like, why are you quiet? Like, talk to me. Why are you quiet?
Yes.
That'd be
It's
annoying.
like a cattle prod, like keep on poking, and some like
Yeah.
you're gonna explode.
Yeah, exactly.
So we are running out of time because this shuts down in 4 minutes. So I want to get a couple of questions more for the followers, really. Like
Yeah.
what do I want to ask? I wanted to ask you. Oh, firstly, I want to ask you what's next for Emily in terms of when do you think we can see you on stage again?
Oh,
I know
well, I would have,
I know it's a bit unclear at
yeah.
the moment, but
Look, if Bahamas goes ahead, which I'm not too sure whether it is or not, like we were always going to do end of year. So if it's not overseas Bahamas, then it will be October here.
okay. So at the beginning of the year, did you have the Bahamas in mind? Was that going to be your guys' show?
Yeah,
Awesome.
100%.
Natural progression,
Yeah,
like natural
yeah,
progression. Winning a pro
yeah,
show. Let's go on to Worlds and see what that's all about. But you've
yeah.
done Worlds
Would love
before as
to.
an amateur. But
Yeah, yeah. As a pro, yeah. Before I
sorry,
got
as a
my
pro. Yes, before you got
crown,
your
yeah,
crown in
yeah,
2018.
yeah,
And I want to ask, because we are running out of time, the last one, I want to know, because I think from what you said before in terms of your, you just squatted back when you were younger, when you first came in the gym after your body pump days. So
yeah,
obviously you got a lot of quad development and possibly not so much glute development from everyone always says you got to squat for glutes, which is
yeah,
incorrect. But
yeah.
your top 3 glute exercises where you feel like that this is coming from the Australian Figure Pro champ.
So obviously everybody's different and
No,
we feel it
you
differently. But
personally,
for me,
you, Emily. Yes.
Romanian deadlifts, dumbbell Romanian
Great.
deadlifts.
Awesome.
Um, a hip thrust, like high volume though, not too heavy.
And what do
Makes
you mean by
me
high volume?
like more of like 15 reps kind of thing,
Okay.
lighter,
Nice.
like contraction, like holding, squeezing,
Exactly.
um,
Engaging. You've got one more.
engaging. Yeah. Uh,
You're on the spot.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't squat for glutes. I don't squat
You
at
don't,
all.
but do you squat at all now?
Not really. Very rarely.
Do
Only
you
when I
do
wanted.
do you do mostly posterior chain exercises, like mostly kind of like glutes and hamstrings training?
Lots of unilateral, like split squats
Yeah.
and Bulgarian split lunges. I do those for more
Oh
my
yeah, those are
glute
great.
and hamstrings. Yeah,
Those
that's
are
my
great.
last one.
But that
That's
that
my
really
first.
hits the positions as well. Like, I think with the
Yeah,
Bulgarians and split squats, depending on how much hip flexion you draw into it, you can really focus. But I think one underlying factor is you got to feel it to know it's working, right?
yeah, and that's why I don't squat because I feel like if I put a whole heap of weight on there, I'm just
Mm,
trying to get off the floor, you know? I'm not
exactly.
trying to get the right muscles. So I
Mm,
go quite light with a lot of stuff, moderate. I'm never really heavy unless I'm trying to do some ego lifting, but
yeah, yeah.
you know, I'm always about like slow, controlled tempo, that kind of stuff, the good
Well,
stuff.
followers, well, guys and girls, you've heard it from one of the best in the industry. So, Emily, I'm going to have to say bye. I'm going to say thank you so much for coming on my live IG, but we're going to get cut off very soon. Have a great
Yeah.
evening.
Thank you so
Have a
much.
great week. Enjoy lockdown as much as you can, and I'm sure I'll hopefully see you in the Bahamas.
Lovely. See
All
you
right,
later.
Emily.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. See ya.
Hello.
And
Hello.
I can hear her as well. Thank God. Sorry, the first live stream did not seem to work. I don't know what's going on there, but
I actually
thankfully I
thought it was my
finally.
fault, so
Oh, really? Okay, let's blame it on you. Yeah, that's easier. How you doing, Emily?
good. How are you?
Good, all good, all good. You got your AirPods in as well. These things are lifesavers.
They are really good. I got them like last week, so
Okay.
still learning how to use them properly, but sure.
Are they the new ones?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
fancy ones. I was like,
yeah, it's
whatever.
super fancy. Double the price, but at least they don't fall out of your ear when you literally turn your head to one side. I had a really issue with the last one.
I still get really like when someone talks to me, I'm usually just pulling like the cord out, but I have to be like,
No, they're definitely good use. Perfect for this as well. You don't want to be
yeah,
hearing your voice. So you're over in, if I didn't get this right, you're over in Miami in Gold Coast?
yeah.
Yes,
So
got it
Gold Coast,
spot
yeah,
on. But is it Miami in Gold Coast or
yeah. It is Miami, but we're sort of in like a weird area that's sort of like Burley, but sort of like
okay?
I don't know. Yeah,
And how are
it's
things
not
out
really
there?
Miami.
Okay, it's not really
Yeah,
Miami.
good. It's the same as you, I guess. We're all locked in and just chilling at home, and it doesn't really change too much for us. Like we don't really do too much otherwise, but
Have
just
you
missing the
got
gym.
Yeah, exactly. Have you got anything set up? You and Matt got a little home gym going on?
Yeah, we have like a 4x2 sort of area that has like a barbell and some dumbbells.
Oh,
Nothing
really?
hectic. Yeah, just something
Uh,
small. We only live
so
in a unit, so
okay, so where's your headspace at right now, Emily, in terms of like, I know you're, as a lot of us are addicted to training, you love your training, you're missing your gyms, but in terms of your training kind of mantra or training switched up in terms of like what you're focusing on now, you taking some time off or what's going on with that?
So really, like as soon as it all happened, I didn't really have 2 minutes to even think about like the fact that we would be out of like the gym environment,
Yeah.
for too long because I have all my clients to look after. So that was
Ah,
my
yes.
first response was like, and they were all freaking out. So I had to be like, no, it's fine. But
Mm,
in regards to like moving forward, like we have enough here. And like if we needed to go to a gym, I'm sure we could source that somehow.
yeah,
But like you just got to do what you got to do in this situation. There's nothing we can do about it. So I kind of had
exactly.
that attitude from day one instead of feeling like, we like poor us for this happening to us.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
was more
yeah.
like, what can we do now to make the most of
Yeah.
this situation? Yeah.
I spoke a lot of the interviewees. Most have actually have got online, but you've got a very successful online business as well. But
Yeah.
do you still see one-to-one clients?
No. So
Not at
since I
all.
moved down to Gold Coast, yeah, it's all online. Yeah.
Okay, so like, were you kind of affected at all, or has this been a positive, or were you initially?
Um, yeah, it's like a lot of people were like, no, this would be great for you. Like you're online.
Yeah,
but it's more so like our clients were losing jobs and still
Yeah.
are. So
Yeah.
it's not really the online business at all. It's more so like our clients can't afford the coaching itself. So
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think a lot of like payments and things kicked in this week, which is good.
Mm.
Like we have people getting like our Centrelink, and now they're at home looking for structure, which is
Yeah.
fantastic for online coaches.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, we were quite heavily affected at the start. I
But
think
that's
everyone
more,
just panicked though.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. It's like it's fear. It's the same, 2008 when the fucking stock markets crashed. People just want to hold on to their money. It's not that they
Yeah.
haven't got money coming in. Of course, people have lost their
Yeah.
jobs, which is terrible, but that's not the end of the world. They reevaluate, they can get new jobs, they bring things online. A lot of the one-to-one trainers have brought their businesses online, not so much possibly in terms of the same way we structure our online,
Mm.
but also just keeping their clients, basically just keeping their clients. I spoke to a guy yesterday,
Yeah.
and I was like, the worst thing they could have done is bury their head in the sands the first 2 weeks, blame the world. That's the absolute worst thing, because even if they're one-to-one clients and they can't see their one-to-one clients, that's when they need the most support. Like,
Yeah.
your girls, your guys, do you do mostly with the females?
Yeah, I
Predominantly
do
with females?
mostly all females. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
at that point, they're looking up to you as a mentor and saying,
Yeah.
right, what the fuck do we do now? So at those
Yeah.
2 weeks, and I said this a lot, like it, I don't know about you, but especially me, my contact with my online girls, like it went up like 50%, because it kind of had
Yeah.
to, because they're
Yeah.
they're looking for other space, they need help, and they need assurance that things can go through. So
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like they need to know, like, what are you doing? Like, how are you going to like
exactly.
survive this? And yeah, so it was really hectic. I think I didn't even sleep for like 2 nights after it, like all the gyms closed here, just because I was like, oh shit, now I have to figure out. Like, I wanted to get them a program like as
Yeah,
soon as possible,
yeah,
because like, and Matt's like, just wait until the morning. I'm like, no, like they need to feel like they're secure and they're safe,
yeah,
and then like it'll be fine from there. But it was really hectic. So a lot of people like tie their a lot to the gym environment.
yeah,
They
of
tie a
course.
lot of their emotions to it. So as soon as that closed, everyone's just like, ah! But
Yeah. But
it's
then
fine. I
then
think
we
everyone,
realize, yeah, then we realize what actually can be done with very limited equipment when we
yeah,
actually have to, when we're forced into that situation.
exactly. And people are just now realizing how capable they are, and like they're
Yeah,
empowered at home. And
yeah,
it's good to see. Like, I love seeing my clients like just make shit up or like
yeah,
use different types of things for weights. Like, it's so nice to see them growing as
yeah, yeah,
athletes as well. So
yeah,
it's been a good
100%.
time.
Good, 100%. So, Emily, I'm really excited to have you on. So, thank you for. I've got Matt on next week as well, so I'm looking forward to
Yeah.
that one. But so these I don't want to talk just about shop. We are going to of course, talk about training. We're going to talk about the WBFF, your competing career. But I think one thing that missed is like successful fitness professionals now. Like, what happened at the start? Like, where did they grow up? How did they grow up? What kind of kids were they? We've had a lot of guests on there. Like a top point athlete, like your figure pro yourself, Miss
Yeah.
Australia figure pro,
Yeah.
ridiculous physique. Where did that all start? Like, so I want to go right back to the beginning. And were you born and bred Australian?
Yeah, yeah. So I was born in a little town called Emu Park, which is like up near, if anyone knows where like Rockhampton is. I
Ooh, I
was
think
like
I've heard of
there,
it.
yeah, inland. So it's a tiny, tiny little town, on the beach. So very much
Okay,
like where I live now, but very quiet.
so you've always been a beach buddy in terms of like always been
Very
by the
much.
sea.
I can't
Yeah,
be away from it. Like I lived in Brisbane, which is
not too far
inland.
away. Yeah,
Yeah, no, and it was awful. I was like, I need to see the beach. I need to see
yeah,
the
yeah,
water. So yeah, I'm
yeah,
very
one
much.
hundred
I love the
percent.
beach.
And so you know, in terms of were you athletic as a child? Like, did you play sports? Did you gymnastics, athletics?
I was born actually like 5 weeks premature, so I've
Okay,
always been really small. I'm like 5'2". And people think I'm actually quite tall and stuff, but I'm not. And I really sucked at sport. Like I really just I'm uncoordinated. I'm really
right.
bad with ball sports. Like, but I tried them all. Like my mum was like just out of her brain putting me into like basketball, which I was always going to be bad at. Like soccer, soccer, and like all these team sports, which I love the team environment. I
Yeah,
was always amongst that as a kid.
yeah.
But just so bad with coordination, with like working within a team on the field and stuff. I
What
wasn't
about
very strong. Yeah,
what about any
it was
like
weird.
solo sports? You ever take up any
I
solo sports?
so it was like when I was growing up, I was the oldest in my grade.
Okay,
But I was always the smallest. So I was
right.
always in like I was in the age group above. Do you know, like if you're in like year 7, like I was actually a year eighter, but I was in year
Right.
7. So
Okay.
like when I did sports and things like that, like high jump and all that kind of
Mm.
stuff, I was actually competing in the year above every time. But I was the
Okay.
smallest person in there. Like I was tiny. And I really tried hard. Like I've
No,
tried so hard at like long distance and everything. Like
yeah.
I I was good at it because I really tried. Like I
Yeah.
wasn't
Yeah.
ever gifted. I just was like long distance running. I would just run until I'd like fall over.
Just a hard
So
worker. I
yeah,
think that, I think that is definitely shown in your later life, but we'll come to that later.
yeah.
If you had to describe yourself as a kid, like in terms of academics, like in 3 words, what would they be?
Academics.
No, not so
Pra-
much academics, just like
I just think
academics, social,
ah
just how would you describe yourself as a kid in 3 words? This is always a good one.
practical,
Nice.
um, industrious,
Okay.
um, introverted. Just I was a
So
weird little kid.
that definitely rings true with quite a few people I've had on. But
Yeah.
it's interesting that you weren't like you were a massive try like you worked super hard, but you didn't excel in any sports. Were you academic
Mm.
at all? Were
Not
you
really.
interested in the academics?
I find it very hard to like to read stuff and to
Mm,
get into stuff if I'm not really invested in it. Like many people, obviously. I was good at like studying stuff because I tried really hard, but I wasn't ever really, really good at it. Um,
okay.
yeah. No, I was pretty mediocre. I was very
Who,
good at like this is my dog,
hello, mate. What's his name?
Teddy.
He he just wants to get involved. It's all good.
He does. He's
I'd bring Trice up here, but he literally ruins all the IGs by snoring. So and it's and these things pick it up like ridiculous. Like I'd
oh
play them
wow.
back, and all I can hear is him
He's
snoring. I was like, for
snoring.
God's sake, ridiculous.
Get him.
So
Yeah.
so you weren't like as in school. School wasn't the best time for you. You weren't super interested, or
No, no, I really liked school. I was
okay,
pretty like I was a suck up for most of my like my younger years. I loved like teachers and I loved
yeah,
being loved by teachers. It was
mm,
strange. I had this weird relationship with school in general. I went to like a all girls college in Ypres.
okay,
Um, and it was a good school. Like we had a big group of friends, but again, I was just like kind of like the odd one out. Like I had short pixie haircut and acne and braces, and I was always just like that kid at the
you had it.
back being like,
Oh, you had it all at the same time.
it did. It all happened for me all at once.
Did the Do you have any brothers or sisters, Emily?
I have two sisters, two older sisters.
Okay, so you're the youngest.
Yeah, yeah, I am the
Spoiled
youngest.
youngest?
No,
No,
I was like,
definitely not.
they,
None of you.
they were just like, you go do what you need to do kind of kid. So,
Okay. So through school, did you like? I'm not definitely sure how the schooling system works in Australia, but we go through to we have like our kind of lower sixth and upper sixth, which is effectively college when we're like 16, 17, and then we go on to university after that. Did you go the whole way?
yeah, yeah. So, like, we are the same. It's like primary, secondary, and then
Yeah.
university. Yeah, is your
Okay.
college. Yeah, I went and did nursing after secondary school. So
Okay.
went straight to university when I was 18. Yeah, 18.
Yeah, that's
Um,
it.
and then I did university and I did my nursing degree from there. So that was 3 years, and then I graduated there. I think in 2012 or yeah.
And what got you interested in nursing?
My mum's a nurse, so
Okay.
yeah,
Following on the
it
family
was.
tradition.
I really had no idea what I wanted to be, and I
Yeah.
just knew that if I didn't jump into something straight away, I was just gonna end up like one of them people that was like 25 years old and just kind
Yeah,
of floating around,
exactly.
so I didn't want to be that person. My dad was a fireman, like my mum was a nurse. It was really like a strong sense of service in our
Yeah, yeah.
family. So I love nursing. I did nursing for 7 years, and
Okay.
um, I still
So
go back a little bit, but not too much.
what do you mean by you go back a little bit?
So like I do some facilitating with the university from time to
Okay, cool.
time, but I honestly haven't had time for that this year. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think the last time I did that was like halfway through last year. It was just becoming too much with work and
yeah,
online and stuff. So
yeah.
as much as I love trying to do 1,000 things at once, it's a lot of time. It's like 8 hours of your day where like I was either going to think about online training and
Yeah.
developing that or going to work. So I
It's
had
funny you
to
say
leave
that.
that
It's like
behind.
it's a lot of people, not so much anymore, but a lot of people kind of, and this is what I ever thought when I first started online training, they kind of think it's a side thing. You're like when you
Mm,
say online training, it's like, oh yeah, but you do one to one as well. You're a personal trainer, but then you do. I was like, no, it's this is actually a business, and it takes a lot of your time up. Like it really
yeah,
does.
yeah,
And I was saying,
100%.
yeah, I was saying before, like I'm don't know whether you're the same, but when I first started doing online training, I was I wasn't very I enjoyed it, of course, and I love what I do, but I wasn't very productive in terms of I used to spend just too much time and like
Mm,
second questioning myself, changing things. Like you'd end up
yeah,
spending too much time on a limited number of clients and not being able to progress. And it wasn't until I figured
yeah,
out like, okay, no, I got a little bit more confidence in myself and actually figured out, no, this is actually what I need to do. I know my knowledge, I know what I do, get it done, spend less time on per client, which sounds bad, but essentially you're being a
yeah,
lot more productive, and then you can
yeah.
start to expand your business from there.
Yeah, no, no, that's exactly like me. I like if I
Yeah,
could sit there and one client, I'll be like, is that right? Is that
yeah,
gonna work? Like, should I change this? Like with same with
exactly.
like just programming this home workout stuff. I think I
Yeah,
reprogrammed it about 6 times before I
yeah.
was like, okay, now they can have
Yeah,
it.
now
But
we're good. Now we can done.
yeah,
But that's a perfection element that I think comes
yeah,
in a lot of people. But
yeah,
so
yeah,
you did nursing for 7 years. So that would have taken you to late twenties, would it?
yeah. I think I finished like it kind of went from full on, and I was working like full time, and then I cut
Yeah.
back to point 0.8 or something, and then I started PT, and so it all kind of
Okay.
overlapped, and I moved from Rockhampton to Townsville, and
I
then
know
down to
Townsville.
yeah,
I don't know why I know. Where's Townsville?
up like 8 hours up.
Is that in
No, more.
is that near Cairns?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Okay,
yeah.
that's why I
Down
know.
from Cairns. Yeah,
I
yeah,
did travel the east coast of Australia once.
yeah.
Um,
It's not a bad
a long,
place,
long
you
time ago.
know.
That's awesome. But this was going back in what 2002. So I'm sure it's
Yeah,
changed quite a bit in the 18 years since then.
most likely.
So I feel this is coming close to the start of your getting involved in gym. Like I want to talk about what brought you into fitness. Like when did you first step foot in the gym?
I was actually like 16 or
Okay.
17.
Oh, so long way back.
Yeah, I was still in Yeppoon. I was still in Emu Park at that point,
Hmm.
and I think it was the year of me leaving school, and my mum used to take me to her gym to just play around. And it was like a little coastal gym, and it
Yeah.
was pretty funky. And then they had like Les Mills classes, and I was
Oh,
like,
back in the day, straight over from New
I want to do
Zealand.
these. Yeah. I got onto Les Mills classes pretty early. I was like 17. I just loved it. Like I was so small, and I actually was diagnosed with celiac disease at that point in time. So I was quite
Okay.
unwell at that period of time. And it was something that helped me feel like better and more
Of
empowered
course.
and stronger.
That's
So
one of the best things about it, right?
yeah, so I got really yeah, it was my mum taking me to my first Les Mills class that got me into fitness really.
And was that like back in the day, like body pump?
Yeah, body pump. Body pump
Nice.
exactly was the one. Yeah. And then
Okay.
I did some yoga ones, and then I left that gym. I think I moved out of house, and I was with a friend that he actually started in a gym, and um he was a PT, and I was just like, take me to the gym, teach me how to
Yeah.
squat. Like
Yeah.
I want to learn how to squat. Like that'd be cool. And then I did that every day for 6 months. Like I just went in and I squatted every day. Like
Every day.
no lie. And I feel like I'm like, that is why my quads are so big, because
Hell
I
yeah.
just
Like,
started
Jesus.
doing like every day. I had no idea about how to structure training. Like it was just like, at that point, fats are bad for you, and
Yeah.
carbs are also bad.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. What we can only get away with protein. That's all you had to eat.
exactly, exactly. So
But obviously suffering with celiac disease, like when were you diagnosed with that? You said about 16 years old.
no, I was actually 17,
Okay.
18. So it was just when I moved out of home, and it was I was working full time, I was studying full time, I was living
Yeah.
out of home. And I was always really tired and I was sick. And I actually
Mm.
look back on photos of myself, and my arms would have been like this big. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was I was really unwell. I was probably about 48 kilos, and I was like 18 years old. So, and my mum's always like, you're not eating enough, you're not sleeping enough,
Mm.
and it's just normal teenager stuff.
Yeah,
And she's a nurse,
yeah.
and I'm like, no, I have to get a doctor and go checked out. And they were either like, so you either have, cancer or you have celiac disease. And I was like,
Wow.
and so they got me in for like an emergency scope that afternoon.
Yeah,
And I don't realize how actually unwell I was at the stage. I
yeah.
couldn't even walk upstairs without being like out of breath.
Dude.
And I thought it was because I was just tired. I was exhausted. I was
Yeah.
working so much.
Mm.
And so they just discovered that I had celiac disease. So that was been fine. Like I kind of took that on the chin. The only thing I was really upset about was I made myself a chicken schnitzel before I had left for the doctors, and I was like went back and I'm like, but can I have that? Mom was like, no. So, but
So,
like,
so how did
yeah,
that, obviously, how did you deal with that over the next kind of progressive years? So obviously, you know, I'm assuming you researched it a lot. Did you have ties in with a nutritionist or anything like that that would help you with your diet? Or was it just like,
uh,
these are the foods you can't eat, so just avoid them?
yeah, like it was pretty poorly poorly managed by myself, to
Mm.
be honest. Like at the beginning, like I didn't really. They gave me dietitians to see and stuff, and I didn't go take that leap because I was like, they're just going to tell me a list of foods that I can't eat, like,
Yeah.
and that's basically it. Celiac isn't, there's not special things that you do to get your gut health back other than
Mm.
just avoiding the foods that you shouldn't be eating. So, from that day on, like I just stopped eating the foods that I shouldn't, and I very rarely, like maybe accidentally, I'll have like a little bit of gluten here and there.
Yeah, yeah,
It doesn't roll me like other people. It just, in the long term, it really does affect me.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
So you don't have immediate issues with it. It's just,
no, it's
yeah.
over a long period of time kind of
Yeah.
thing. So,
It's very
um,
similar to, I mean, all kinds of like food intolerance, and celiac being one of the major ones. It's,
yeah,
some people have exacerbating symptoms that they get straight away, but some people it's
yeah,
more like underlying cell division, inflammation, all that kind of stuff that
yeah,
is brought over a long time. And sometimes, I mean, that's the worst because
yeah,
it goes
exactly.
undetected for quite a long time.
And people usually, like, especially if they're non-reactive, like me, like not non-reactive, but like
Yeah,
how I don't get immediate
yeah,
reaction. They just let it go, and they'll eat
yeah.
stuff because they don't react to it. And I'm like,
Mm,
but down the end, you'll end up having bowel cancer and all these things that are
exactly.
far worse. So, for me, that was like the biggest deterrent. Like being a nurse and knowing how, the body works and how
Mm,
dangerous having any gut issue is. It was like a wake up call for me, and I was like, yeah, I'm done. Like, I don't
yeah,
miss it at all.
yeah. And I'm assuming you're exactly the same, well, but a far more educated protocol that you're following now.
Yeah, yeah. Like I've been really simple with my diet since like day one, kind of thing.
Mm.
So I don't know, if people do get like, they're like, oh, how do you deal? And you miss out on that, and I was like, no,
Yeah, I
it
mean,
is what it
it's
is.
just, yeah, it's just life. There are plenty of things you can eat.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
It's not
like,
that limiting, but of course, it's a matter of health, so it has to
mm,
take priority.
exactly,
So
exactly.
we found out when you first hit the gym, doing your uh,
Les Mills.
Les Mills body pump classes.
Yeah.
And then we progress on to squatting 7 days a week, building your quads.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
did you do any other stuff for training as well, or was it just literally squatting 7 days a week all the time?
Yeah, like I actually at that time, like the people that I looked up to in fitness and the people that I was reading, a lot
Yeah,
of their literature was like Lane Norton, and back
yeah,
when he
yeah,
was doing his contest prep, and
yeah.
bodybuilding.com was like my Bible, and
Mm.
people like Donald and Bailey were like my girl. So I just
So
watched
she
them.
was a massive inspiration for you.
Yeah,
Had a
she was like
role
number
model growing up.
one. Yeah,
Okay.
number one. And Nicole Wilkinson. So like
Yes.
there's the big figure girls. I now
Mm.
look back, I'm like, hey, like it all makes
So
sense.
yeah, it all makes sense, and that's why you arrived as you are now. But
Yeah, so yeah, it's good to see like just the way that like Dana like trained. I would honestly just write down her exercises, go to the gym the
yeah.
next day and do that same thing.
Okay, so you were training, mostly full body,
No, like I was doing like a dude's traditional
like
split. Like I
like a
was
bro
doing
split.
chest,
Yes.
shoulders.
Yes.
Next day was,
Never,
hamstrings.
never,
Next day
never
was
go higher
quads.
than 12 reps. Never go higher than
Yes.
12 or lower than 10. All about volume.
Forearms.
Yeah. Are you serious? Yeah. Oh, geez.
Yeah. And like 7 days a week, I just love training. Like I love being in the
Yeah.
gym. It was my thing. I was probably like one of the only women in my area because I came from a very small town that
Okay.
really loved the gym. And
Yeah.
like I was training with all my dudes and it was a good time when I was like 18, 19. It was just fun
Awesome.
to train.
And that was when you were still kind of like progressing from school to university, right?
Yeah, yeah, I was in university then and yeah, it would have been uni. First
So
and second year of uni.
did training continue all through your nursing career?
Yeah, yeah. From like the day that I started like that Les Mills to the
Yeah.
squatting, like I don't think I've missed like a week of training in my life.
Never. Only after
No.
the Europeans when you took a tour around Europe.
Yeah, no, even then
That
we
looked
trained every
you did?
every second. Yeah, we trained
That
every
looked
day.
immense, by the way. You went to some great places.
I ate a lot of food.
Oh yeah, for sure. You need to get some kind of calories burnt.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the whole training aspect, I'm really interested. I want to go back into it again. Um, so in terms of when you're doing these plans now from bodybuilding, listen to Lane Norton and stuff like that.
Yeah.
When did the mental shift come from? And always also want to know, like, did you adapt to it quickly in terms of body? Like, did your body grow? Did you get stronger
Yeah.
really quickly? Like, you finally found something in terms of physical exercise that actually was your niche.
Yeah, exactly. Like I loved it and it was working and I grew so quickly. I
Yeah.
started competing when I was 19 as well. So,
Okay.
um, yeah, when I was 19. So it was just like it all started. I think I started the actual gym, a different gym, and
Yeah.
then 6 months later I was competing in my first like ICN show in
ICN.
fitness.
Okay. So
Mm.
was this someone mentioned it? Did they say like, oh, you should think about competing because they saw how your body was growing, you saw how it was structuring, or was it something that
Yeah.
you were like, I want to do this, Daniel Bailey, like I want to be her, like I want to start competing. How did that come
I
about?
think in the back of my mind, it was always I wanted to be on stage and
Yeah.
compete, and I never like took the leap myself. Someone obviously came up to me at the gym and was just like, "Hey, you look great. Why don't you compete?"
That old
um,
chestnut.
that old chestnut. So yeah, and then I found like my first coach sort of
Yeah.
who did posing coaching in Gladstone, which is a totally different town,
Okay.
and she got me into ICN and I competed for like 7, 8 comps back to back in my first
Oh
three
wow. And
years.
how
Yeah.
far? 8 comps in 3 years.
It
Big
was
stuff.
a
So what?
lot.
Run me through ICM because I'm not too sure of the categories. Like you said, you're in fitness,
Yeah, so they have like bikini, fitness, figure.
right?
I'm not too sure now because they've changed a lot of their
Yeah,
division, but
yeah.
it's very similar to like all the other ones. They have like, yeah, bikini, and then they
Okay.
have like your bodybuilding and stuff as well.
And would you say in terms of judging criteria and what they look for would be more similar to kind of the IFBB look, or
Yes
do
and
they
no,
have their
like
own little niche? Like,
uh it's hard to say. It's like I guess like ICM was like a lot of bikini, a lot of fitness girls,
yeah,
a lot of boys because it's a tested comp, so there was a lot
yeah,
of men that didn't want to necessarily be big like bodybuilding,
yeah,
but
yeah,
still
yeah,
wanted to get on stage in like a fitnessy kind of way.
yeah,
But I guess the same as like IFBB, so it's not so much on like looks and everything
yeah.
else, the whole package.
It's
It's
really just
purely
about
based
physique.
on yeah, purely
Yeah.
based on the physique. Yeah.
So 3 years competing with ICN. How well? Like 8 shows. How did you do?
I got my figure fitness pro, and then I went into figure because I was too
Okay,
big for fitness.
right.
Um, and then I didn't win fitness figure pro. I ended up winning that division, and then they were like, "We have nowhere else for you to go,"
I'm
because
serious.
I was at the bigger end of a figure, and I didn't
Yeah,
want to
yeah,
pose in bodybuilding for women.
yeah.
So I tried one NABBA competition where I did like a bodybuilding physique posing routine type thing
Okay.
with like the no shoes thing and the
Yes.
the
Yeah.
figure thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it just didn't feel right for me and my personality. So
Okay, so
That's when I found
ICN.
WBFF. Yeah.
Okay, so ICN 3 years. You went. Did you take time off before doing the NABBA, or if you did go straight into NABBA?
I did 6 months off. That was when I moved from Rocky to Townsville. So
Okay,
I usually just kind of picked comps that were around my area, and
right.
ICN had a lot of comps. They do a lot of competitions per year.
Yeah, yeah. A
Yeah.
lot of those federations they do that. Literally, you can compete pretty much every week if you wanted to.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
so
Yeah.
you first found the WBFF in what year?
Um, God, test me now. I think 2016.
You just have. Is it an
Yeah.
average? You don't have to be exact.
Yeah. 2016, 2017, I think. Yeah.
Okay. And did
At the end of,
so
yeah.
obviously like we've heard your kind of like your inspirations in terms of fitness girls um that you've already mentioned, but did you like what drew you to the WBFF? Did you have friends competing? Did you look up to certain fitness pros or figure pros that are already in the WBFF?